Hello, everyone. Welcome to Leisrealtalk. Well, welcome to Lei's Saturday Night Live. First of all, let me tell you, I went down to Florida for a podcast with Danny Jones. We spoke for 3 hours, and something spooky happened at the end. I should tell you that. Just as we finished, and he stood up and he got a text message, and he said to me, he said, I just got a text message in Chinese. And he said, I never got anything in Chinese. He said, could you read it to see what it says? So it was a Chinese text message saying that this is your one-time passcode for logging into Amazon. And it looked very suspicious to me because, I mean, why would Amazon reset people's password in Chinese? So immediately I knew what it was all about. So I said to Danny, I said, well, this is obviously Big Brother has been watching us. And this is Big Brother's way to tell you that they know what you are up to, who you are talking to. Uh, and he was very shocked. And this has happened to me before. Other people that I talk to will get this kind of warning or friendly reminder. So I just want you guys to know that. And the program will come out, I think, in 2 weeks. So you will see Lei unchained for 3 hours. I mean, we talked about so many things. It was all over the places. But that's what these long form podcast does. So all right, so that's what I was in the past 2 days. All right, what are we talking about today? Oh, where is Xi Jinping? Wow, that's a good question. Well, President Donald Trump wrote on his social media to express how frustrated he is with the tariff negotiations with China. And he feels Beijing has broken its promises. Secretary Bassett, still trying to pronounce the name, has confirmed that talks with the Chinese have stalled. But I believe the real reason for the deadlock may not be related to trade or tariffs. I think there's a vacuum in Beijing. No one is truly in charge. Since his power has been reduced, Xi Jinping probably doesn't care anymore. So why do I say that? Well, first, Xi Jinping has been missing for public view for over, I should say, 11 days now. And this marks the third time he's vanished for such a long stretch. But this time feels different and more troubling. And the party elders, those pulling the strings from behind the scenes, know they must move quickly to settle on Xi Jinping's replacement. And they're running out of time. And they've reportedly turned to one man they believe is best suited to lead. But that man said that he has two conditions before accepting the role. So, who is this man and what are the conditions he's demanding? So, that's what we'll discuss. So, first things first, let's talk about where Xi Jinping is. Well, we notice that he has gone off the radar. He has not made public appearances for the past, if you include June 1st, because right now it's June 1st in China, that's 12 days. Of course, he's still issuing directives, sending congratulatory messages, or speaking with foreign leaders over the phone. But his physical appearances, such as attending meetings, receiving foreign visitors, or making inspection tours, have ceased. He was last seen in Luoyang on May 19th and 20th, and coverage of his public appearances on the front page of People's Daily stopped on May 21st. After that, he had a phone call with the French president on I think the 23rd, and then on the 24th, he had a call with the German chancellor. And then starting from the 23rd, Premier Li Qiang has been making daily front page appearances in People's Daily. chairing meetings, meeting foreign leaders, going on overseas trips, and so on. Meanwhile, Xi Jinping has only been sending congratulatory letters or messages of condolence, such as for the passing of former Vietnamese leader or president. Um, so as of June 1st, it has been around 12 days since Xi Jinping was physically seen in public. And this is abnormal. The longest time or periods he has gone without public appearances have lasted around 2 weeks. And we're getting close to that, right? There were only 2 instances that he disappeared for 2 weeks. The first time was in 2012, just before the 18th Party Congress, when he assumed the top leadership position. He disappeared for 2 weeks. It was said that he was demanding full succession of power, including control of the military, or he would refuse to be the next leader. He was not happy being just the party leader and the president of China. And during the standoff with Hu Jintao and Jiang Zemin and other party elders, he disappeared for 2 weeks. And the second time he disappeared was from the end of last July until mid-August. During that time, rumors exploded, claiming he had a health episode and suffered a stroke. He reappeared on August 18th to welcome General Secretary of the Vietnamese Communist Party, Yuan Phu Zhong. I think in Vietnamese it's Nguyen Phu Truong. Okay, so now this time is the third time he disappeared for an extended period of time. So why is this disappearance especially abnormal? Well, in the previous 2 instances, rumors started spreading wildly after he disappeared. But this time it's the opposite. He went off the radar after rumors were flying high. And this makes his disappearance looking a little ominous. So before Xi Jinping went dark, there were so many rumors about him. Remember? There was the rumor about his vice chairman of CMC, He Weidong, who died. And there was a rumor about an expanded Politburo struggle meeting targeting him, discussing his future. So under such circumstances, one would expect Xi Jinping to appear frequently to show off to show his control, to show that he's still in control, right? And to restore stability. But instead, he disappeared. And this is very odd. And there's another piece of news making his disappearance even more ominous. And even Xi Jinping's family members have disappeared from the public. So on May 25th, People's Daily ran a brief article about the opening of the Guanzhong Revolutionary Memorial Hall, located in Xi Jinping's hometown in Fuping County, Shanxi Province. Let me show you the picture. Okay. So, there were 2 buildings. I'll address the other one soon. So the report noted that the Memorial Hall features or comprehensively showcases the glorious revolutionary career and notable character of Comrade Xi Zhongxun, Xi Jinping's father. And that phrase, comprehensively showcases, indicates that the memorial hall was built for Xi Jinping's father. It was a memorial hall dedicated to him because that's the person that this entire hall features. And the opening day also happened to be the 23rd anniversary of Xi Zhongxun's death. However, what stood out as highly unusual was that no senior officials from Shanxi province attended the opening ceremony. No senior leaders from the party's central propaganda department showed up either. Even more telling, none of Xi Jinping's family members were present. Now, prior to this point, if there was such an event, all of those officials would certainly show up. And Xi Jinping's brother, Xi Jinping, almost always attends events centered around his father. So this strange, quiet tone becomes even more striking when placed alongside two other facts. One, in 2018, the Xi Zhongxun Memorial Hall was already opened in the very same county, the picture that you see on the right. So the existence of two memorial halls for the senior Xi in the same town is already quite odd. What's more, both are located right next to Xi Zhongxun's mausoleum, which makes it highly likely that this so-called new Guangzhou Revolutionary Memorial Hall is actually just the old Xi Zhongxun Memorial Hall relocated a short distance from one place to another. It's just an expanded, a newly built, larger memorial hall dedicated to the senior Xi. Um, but it appears the name Xi Zhongxun has quietly been removed from the name of the new museum. It's now rebranded with a generic title, Guangzhou Revolutionary Memorial Hall. Now, think about it. The planning, site selection, and construction of such a memorial building takes years, right? Meaning it was likely approved during the peak of Xi Jinping's power. But the name change at the very last moment clearly points to internal party pushback. The renaming of Xi Zhongxun Memorial Hall may signal the beginning of a purge of Xi Jinping's lineage. And when Xi loses power, his family may also become collateral damage. Now, previously, there had already been controversy over Xi Jinping's expansion of his father's tomb. The senior Xi's mausoleum is 4 times larger than Ming Emperor Zhu Yuanzhang's tomb, and 9 times the size of Dr. Sun Yat-sen's mausoleum. It also is significantly larger than those of Mao Zedong and Deng Xiaoping. And only Mao Zedong has a memorial hall dedicated to him. Even Deng Xiaoping doesn't have one. So CCP elders are asking, so who is Xi Zhongxun to deserve this one? And at the highest position that Xi Zhongxun held was a vice premier. And in the history of the CCP, there have been so many vice premiers. So that probably explains why the memorial hall is not named after Xi's father, and the grand opening ceremony went extremely low key, and that even his family, his brother, didn't show up. So now the question is, where is Xi Jinping? We don't know. I don't know, but some people are saying that he's still in Luoyang and hasn't returned to Beijing. Now, interestingly, Luoyang sounds like falling sun in Chinese, right? If you speak Chinese, Luo, fall, it means fall, yang, 太阳, sun. So it's a symbolic name, and it's a place that Mao Zedong never visited since he's revered as the sun, and he didn't like to go to the place called falling sun. Now, Luoyang also happens to be where Xi Jinping's father once worked while in political exile, laboring in a factory. So it's not a happy place for Xi Jinping. And it's said that he's still there. Some people say that he's kept there, or I don't know why, but he's there, some people say. But he's deeply upset about the recent renaming of his father's memorial hall to a generic one. But right now, it seems that his feelings don't seem to matter. Okay, so now let's talk about the party elders, what they're busy with. They're reportedly busy deciding who the next leader should be. They've been looking everywhere for someone capable of cleaning up the mess Xi Jinping has left behind, domestically and internationally. Some believe that Hu Chunhua, once considered the crown prince, is still too inexperienced to take the helm. I should have put a picture of Hu Chunhua. No, sorry, I didn't. But the next person, I do have a picture of him. So if you look at Hu Chunhua's resume, he has served on the Politburo and as a vice premier, and he has extensive provincial leadership experience experiences. But he's never made it into the Politburo Standing Committee, the top 7 who run the party. So their attention has reportedly shifted to another reform-minded figure. Let me show you his picture. There he is, Wang Yang. At 70, Wang is 2 years younger than Xi Jinping, and he and Li Keqiang both retired at the 20th Party Congress in 2022. Before that, he was one of the 7 members of the Politburo Standing Committee during the 19th Party Congress, where he oversaw the CPPCC, which stands for the Chinese People's Political Consultative Conference. He also served as a vice premier under Li Keqiang in the 18th Party Congress. Now, let's be clear. This is all rumor coming out of Beijing. None of it can be confirmed. But I think it's important enough to share with you because I do think it carries some weight. So here's what people are saying. When the party elders approached Wang Yang about taking over, he reportedly made 3 demands. He said he would step in, but only if they agreed to certain conditions. So what are these conditions? Before I get into that, let me give you a little bit background on Wang Yang so that you understand where he came from and his political career, so that you can understand why he made those demands. Okay, so Wang Yang is often viewed as part of the liberal camp within the CCP, and he advocated for free markets and political openness. He's obviously associated with the Communist Youth League faction, aka the Hu Jintao faction. He came from a very poor family. His father died when he was very young. Actually, people didn't even know who his father, the name of his father. So his mother raised him and his 2 siblings alone. So to help his mother financially, he started working at a food factory before even graduating from high school. He was only 17. And I think in his early 20s, he married the daughter of a local official. I think he was low-ranking official. But Wang is obviously very talented, and he worked his way up during the 1980s, which was probably the most liberal and open time period under the CCP. And in 1988, he became the mayor of Tongling in Anhui. Now, his political turning point came after the 1989 Tiananmen Square massacre. So after that, China's reform and opening up process came to a halt. And in 1991, Wang Yang, then still mayor of Tongling, took a political gamble by initiating a major public discussion. He published a pro-reform article titled "Wake Up, Tongling" in the local newspaper, and calling for continuation of reforms. It was a bold move because you don't know. Even the party leader at the time, Jiang Zemin, was steering China to the left. And Deng Xiaoping had to rely on the support of the military to bring reform policies, to reinstate reforms. So that's how shaky the situation was. So it was purely a political. He took a totally political risk and a political gamble to publish that article in his town. However, People's Daily responded with a very supportive editorial titled "Wake Up, Not Just Tongling," right? So his article was "Wake Up, Tongling," and the People's Daily responded by saying "Wake up, not just Tongling." And this brought Wang Yang to national attention. So in early 1992, as Deng Xiaoping passed through Anhui province on his return trip on his southern China tour, he met with local leaders and specifically asked to meet Wang Yang, praising him as talented. So Wang was then placed on the Central Organization Department's list of future leadership candidates. From there, his career took off. So in 1993, at age 38, he was appointed vice governor of Anhui province, making him the youngest vice governor in China at the time. And while overseeing finance and taxation in Anhui, he pushed for major reforms, so much so that then Premier Zhu Rongji praised him as someone who was young but daring. So thanks to his strong performance in Anhui, he was transferred to the central government in September 1999 under Zhu Rongji. He became the deputy director of the former State Department Planning Commission. And in March 2003, after Wen Jiabao became premier, Wang was appointed Secretary General of the State Council, managing the daily operations of the State Council's general office. And in 2005, he became the party secretary of Chongqing. While in Chongqing, he pushed forward media reform. The city issued a directive limiting newspaper space, word counts, and airtime allocated for coverage of top municipal leaders. And then during a high-profile housing demolition standoff, a disgruntled homeowner who refused to cave in or to move, climbed to the rooftop, demanding, "I want to see Wang Yang," who was the party secretary of Chongqing, one of the direct municipality of China, one of the 4 direct municipalities of China. So that shout by the disgruntled homeowner put Wang at the center of public attention. Rather than ordering immediate blackout, he instructed the leaders to negotiate with him, with the homeowner. So the dispute was resolved with a settlement, earning him praises from the public. So after Chongqing, he became the party secretary of Guangdong. And during this time, he faced it was right before the financial crisis of the 2008. So he insisted that the government should not rescue companies with backward productivities. So he refused to rescue the companies that don't produce or that didn't produce. So he called for Guangdong to seize the opportunity to accelerate industrial upgrading. And he also instituted major reforms. And in 2009, Shenzhen became the first city in China to implement large-scale government restructuring, reducing its departments from 46 to 31, far below the central government's limit of 40 departments for large cities. And then there's another district in in Shenzhen that took it even further, cutting 2/3 of its department from 41 to 16. That's a reduction by 2/3. So building on this, he proposed a shift from an all-powerful government to a limited government. Coming from a communist government official, this is quite rare. You have to have a lot of guts to do that. So he stepped down as the party secretary of Guangdong at the end of 2012, and he was succeeded by Hu Chunhua. And then his next job was, vice premier in the state council under Xi Jinping. Under Li Keqiang, who was under Xi Jinping. But honestly speaking, he and Li Keqiang didn't do much under Xi Jinping. And when it comes to Sino-US relations, he made a famous analogy in 2013. While attending the US-China Strategic and Economic Dialogue, he likened US-China relations to a married couple, saying that the two countries shouldn't choose divorce. He said it would be too expensive. He said, his original quote was, "It would be too expensive, like Wendy Dunn and Rupert Murdoch." Well, the two had to get a divorce because it's not a matter of expensive or not. These two, one was a spy, and I mean, that was just a bad analogy. I mean, if the two, there's no way these two could avoid a divorce. But anyways, so compared to Xi Jinping, people say that Wang Yang is more pragmatic, hands-on, and often open to feedback and suggestions. And so here's the highlight of tonight. So when party elders approached him about becoming the next CCP leader, he reportedly made three key demands. Number one, control of the military. He insisted that he must become the chairman of the Central Military Commission, in addition to serving as party leader. Without control of the military, being party secretary is meaningless. History proves this. The two party secretaries who were removed while in office, Wu Yaobang and Zhao Ziyang, were both ousted by Deng Xiaoping, who held military power at the time. So his demand number one is clear. He wants to control the military. And his second command is a full reset of China's foreign policy. One sees foreign relations as China's most urgent challenge. He wants to completely overhaul the foreign ministry and diplomatic corps. The wolf warriors or the wolf warrior diplomats must go and replaced by pro-West professional diplomats. And that's his demand number two. And demand number three is an end to internal bloodletting, or bloodshedding, I should say. And for the senior leaders in the party, past or present, to reach a truce. So his third demand is unprecedented, right? He wants the party's top leaders and rival factions to stop fighting and reconcile. And he's calling for a truce to put an end to the infighting and mutual destruction that has plagued the CCP since its founding. So this is radical because the CCP has never reconciled its internal struggles. Under Mao, scores of leaders were purged or even killed. Deng Xiaoping was not any better. I mean, he had Mao's widow and the gang of four arrested. He then removed Hua Guofeng, Mao's chosen successor. He got rid of him to seize power. He later forced out two of his own general secretaries, Wu Yaobang and Zhao Ziyang, who died miserably, and Zhao Ziyang was under house arrest for the rest of his life. So, and then when Jiang Zemin took over, Deng Xiaoping didn't trust him either and appointed Hu Jintao as Jiang's successor, just to check Jiang's power. And then Jiang Zemin and Hu Jintao fought a decade-long war. And Hu Jintao faced 2 assassination attempts and survived. Then came Xi Jinping, who fought both Jiang Zemin and Hu Jintao's camps, imprisoning many of their loyalists, and the factional war ultimately culminated in the sudden death of former Premier Li Keqiang. So Wang Yang wants to stop this endless cycle. Although personally, I believe that unless the CCP itself is dismantled, the killing and the purging will never stop because it's just in the regime's DNA. But anyway, Wang Yang has made it clear if these 3 conditions are not met, he's not interested in taking over or cleaning up Xi Jinping's mess. He says he's old and would rather enjoy retirement. So, will the party elders agree to his terms? We'll see. Rumor has it that the party elders were quite impressed by his demands because obviously the man, I mean, if you make these 3 demands, it means that you know what you're gonna do. It means that he has vision. I mean, if he's clueless, he's not gonna make those 3 demands. He has given it some thought. You know, he knows what he's gonna do. Otherwise, he wouldn't make those 3 demands. So the party elders, you know, reportedly were quite pleased and amazed by his vision. But we don't know if this is true or what will happen next. But in my view, the only way CCP leaders would ever stop fighting is if the regime ends and a new system begins. Otherwise, reconciliation is impossible. Just take Li Keqiang's family, for example. Well, think about it. They will likely demand a full investigation into his death before they ever consider making peace with Xi Jinping or whoever is responsible. So, under the current system, a truce is wishful thinking. But once you do the investigation, really find out who did what, I think that itself, when the truth comes out, that itself will end the CCP, because people will not. I mean, it's unthinkable. People will not accept it. This regime will have to end. That's why they cover up. So that's why they cover up everything. On May 28th, around 9:30 p.m. I want to show you. Do I have a picture of that? Oh yeah. Now we're getting to the metaphysical aspect of that, but it's important. So May 28th, around 9:30 at night, a fireball meteor strike, or whatever you call it, meteor shower, or meteor, streaked across the night sky over western Guangdong and northern Hainan. Unlike ordinary meteors, is that how you say it? Meteors, yeah. This super bright fireball emitted a thunderous boom as it fell, and in a split second, it lit up the entire sky with blinding flash. I saw the video. It was like daylight, like it was bright. Now this meteor was strikingly similar to the one that appeared over Bangkok on November 3rd, 2015. People say it's almost at the exact same local time. And even the trajectory of the meteor was nearly identical. A year after that, heavenly fireball appeared over the sky in Bangkok on October 13th, 2016. Thailand's king, I think Rama IV, passed away. Now, I won't delve into all the stories about falling meteors and the shower, but the massive meteorite that fell in Jilin shortly before Mao Zedong's death has long reinforced the old belief: when a stone falls from the sky, someone is going to die. It's a classic tale of heaven and man in sync. Most recently, in 2022, a fireball appeared over Zhejiang, and not long after, Jiang Zemin died. On April 15th, 1986, a meteor fell in Hubei, and soon after, Wu Yaobang was forced to step down. On February 15th, 1997, a meteor shower hit Hezhe, Shandong. 4 days later, Deng Xiaoping died. So things don't look too good for Xi Jinping. I mean, by the way, the giant fireball that took place 3 days ago was not reported by state media. It was kept. I mean, people were talking, but it was reported by some media outlet, but it was played down. Yeah, it was played down. So things don't look too good for Xi Jinping. And I saw this picture today. I don't know if you guys understand the significance of this. Let me make this bigger. Every Chinese know what this means. Do you know what this means? It's a bag of steamed buns hung on a tree. Well, Xi Jinping is referred to as steamed bun in China, 包子. And that's what the Chinese call him. So this picture carries significant political message that's banned in China. But this picture apparently came from China. All right, so that's all. That's all I have today. I think I answered the question where Xi Jinping is although I don't have the answer, but I also talked about the man who may be the next leader, but it's based on rumor-inspired uh, contents. All right, let me just quickly address one question, because I spoke about the expanded Politburo Politburo meeting where Hu Jintao, Zhang Youxia, and Xi Jinping spoke. I even talk about what they said at the meeting. So interestingly, more speeches have been leaked. The media personality Old Lamp, Lao Deng, has released speeches for more leaders like Wen Jiabao, Wang Qishan, Zeng Qinghong, and Li Ruihuan. Now, after studying all the speeches, because now, I mean, at that point, when I did the program, we only had 3 speeches. It felt real. It seriously felt real. Now that we have 7 speeches, and after studying all of them, what I feel is the speeches are half true and half fabricated. I think the extended Politburo meeting did take place, but it's not a meeting where they invited all the Politburo members, because there was a question about why certain Politburo members, were not present at that meeting because they had other events, right? So it was a much smaller scale meeting. Only the Politburo Standing Committee members, past and present, were invited. So it's a much smaller group. So it was only anyone who belonged to the 7-person committee, past or present, who are still living, were invited to this meeting. So there are, I think, no more than 20 people at this point. If it were all Politburo members, it would be a meeting comprised of over 100 people, and I think it's too large. I don't think that's the meeting. So I think that answered the question. So it's only a Politburo, past and present Politburo Standing Committee members were invited to this meeting. So the meeting did take place, and that's the consensus among some China watchers. However, the speeches might have been embellished. Some parts of it may be true, but there's some part that are not true. So it might have been, or they might have been embellished based on literary imagination. So with that, I wrap up my talk, and let me see if people have any questions for me. Oh, all right. Wow, we have 6,000 people live. Well, that's excellent. That's excellent. Okay, good. Well, thank you for your support. All right, let me see if people have any questions for me. I see super stickers from, who is that? Oh, here's one. From Lun Noon. Well, thank you. It's from Canada. Thank you very much. Lan. I think it's Lan. Okay, here's a message from Lan. Hello, Lei. Really enjoy your show. Can you comment whether taking over a few islands in the South China Sea was right based on the CCP reasoning? Absolutely not. No, I do not believe. I mean, that's CCP's tactic is, breaking rules. They never follow any rules, but they constantly they test the water by by building a few artificial islands in the area just to test the responses from the international community. If people just complain and didn't really do much, then they're going to continue to do that. So I think that the best way to deal with the CCP is to, whenever they break the rule, you should stop them right then. But the whole world has tolerated CCP's bad behavior for the past 20 to 30 years. So now it's already too late to discipline them. But I think that's egregious behavior. All right. Let me see. Louis Decker. Well, thank you. Is it Louis? It's Louis. Not Louise. It's Louis. Yes. Thank you. All right. I want to, yeah, maybe since I talked about the spooky text message uh, in the beginning of this program, I want to. So maybe you want to ask me how do I live with that? Because this is not the first time it has happened. Um, I think one needs to have inner peace in order to remain strong. Because, like I said, fear is a self-inflicted wound. Although it's very difficult for people who were born and raised in China to totally get rid of fear because it's always there. You worry what the big brother, is going to do to you. But I think you need to have utmost inner peace to have the strength. That's one. And number two, um, if we worry about past, we have depression. If we worry about the future, we have anxiety. So focus on now, focus on what we do, and do not think too much. So I think that's my view. Because if I don't have that positive outlook, I'm not able to do what I do today at all. So that's how I look at it. Yeah. Because if you think about it, if you think about what happened, because the text message came as soon as we finished, and Danny never got a text message that's in Chinese. So if you think about the timing, if I weren't there, that text message was meaningless because Danny would never know what it means. It happened because I was there, so I was able to explain to him, and so that message was intended for both of us. And whoever sent that message knows or knew that I know what it means, right? So I immediately knew. I said, "Oh, the big brother is trying to tell you that they know what you're doing." So if you really think about it, otherwise, how do you explain? How do you explain this? It just doesn't make sense. The timing is just too perfect. It's as soon as we finish. Anyways, and this is not the first time it happened to me. Okay, all right, let's see. Louis Decker, thanks for the wonderful work. I've been living in Taiwan for more than 20 years and love it. I eagerly watch your show every week. Your insights are amazing. Well, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, Taiwan is a much is a much better place to be in right now as opposed to China. All right, I worry about people who are in China right now. Things don't look good. Someone want me to mention the COVID virus, the variant has has been found in the US. There's a serious outbreak in China. There's a serious COVID outbreak in China, and then I think the neighboring countries are also concerned. It's just that we're not hearing that in the press a lot. And I think the variant has already been discovered in the US. So watch out, watch out, because it's coming. Okay, I'm just looking at the super stickers. Oh, here's a question from Will Ginfor. Next, maybe you should examine bumps on Xi's head to see if he'll remain in power. Hocus pocus. His bumps? Does he have any? I saw the weird shave in the back of his head last summer, but are there any bumps on his head? Did you see any? All right. People say your voice seems to fade in and out at times. Maybe you need to consider a lapel type microphone. Others can confirm if it's possible. Is this so? I have a friend who suggests I have a microphone that hands from the top. I think that's a great suggestion. I just haven't got the time to think about hardware and equipment. Everything competes for my time. So this is when I was in Danny's studio, I was impressed. I said to myself, now this is a professional looking studio compared to Lay's, home office. Um, yeah, so maybe one day I'll have a professional studio. Anyways, boycott China, boycott China. I love you, Lei. Do you feel it too? Thank you. Either way. All right. Well, well, thank you, boy. All right. Um, Chris from London. Hello, Lei. Really enjoy your show. Can you comment whether taking over the new islands? Oh, I already answered that. All right. Kiran Patel, do you think she has brought Chinese economy down to 8 trillion in current times? You mean $8 trillion or 8 trillion renminbi? You're talking about GDP? I mean, China's economy isn't doing well. I did a program last week, and you can take a look, but I'm not quite sure what you mean by 8 trillion. China's GDP is not what it claims. It's not the 18 trillion US dollars. It's, I think, a third of that. Yeah. So you can take a look at my program from last week. What does it matter? What does it matter who leads China when the whole system of government is broken? Excellent question. Excellent comment from Roy Gold. That's my view as well. I think it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. As long as the communist system is in place, there's no future for China. The system has to go, but then the system has to be taken down, brought down by someone, right? You need the right person to be in place to bring it down. Like Gorbachev dismantled the Soviet Communist Party. So you need the right person. The party won't just disappear on its own. You still need someone to end it before we see a bloody revolution taking place in China. So hopefully, some courageous Chinese leaders or whoever the next person is sees it and does the right thing for his country and himself. Because if not, he will go down just like Xi Jinping. I mean, when Xi Jinping first came on board, I mean, he wasn't as bad as he is today. But his mistake was he's trying to preserve the party. And that killed everything because this party is insalvageable. All right. Okay, let me see. Martin, thank you. Well, I have so many viewers from Taiwan today joining me. Thank you for everything you do, Lei. I'm also living in Taiwan for nearly 20 years already. Let me ask a crazy question. The ROC returning to China when the CCP collapses, thoughts? I think it's a great idea. I think, the ROC, the Republic of China, could return to China. And they could be a different political party. They should, if China choose to have a democratic system where they have a multi-party system, the ROC has two parties, right? They could join, they compete for the top job, and it depends on the Chinese people who they trust more. I think that's a wonderful idea. I think Republic of China should return, and because it has a history of 112 years, 113 years, than the PRC. All right, let me see. Ragnar brother, thank you. Oh, Can Lan, like you haven't mentioned the oustering of Zheng Yanxiong from the mainland Hong Kong liaison office. Yeah, the man, the hardliner leftist that Xi Jinping sent to manage the Hong Kong, the CCP's Hong Kong office. His name is Zheng Yanxiong. He's ousted. He's out, and that's a good sign. That probably means that the CCP's the very hard leftist control on Hong Kong under Xi Jinping is history now. So something brutal is he says, something is brutal going on. It is. No matter how you look at it, Xi Jinping is in no way still in control. I mean, those people who still refuse to say that Xi Jinping has lost power, I don't know, they need to wake up and see all the signs. I'm only giving you, a third of the signs. There's so many other signs. Well, thank you, Cam, for mentioning it. There are other signs. All right. Okay, let's see. Somebody, are you paid by CIA? I wish somebody else can pay me. I mean, I work so hard relying on your donation and YouTube's ad income to make a living, but I have turned on advertisers and sponsors because Lei cannot be bought by anyone. I would rather beg you for money than, take on some sponsors and large donors who want to influence me. So I think people who follow my channel long enough know who I am and what I stand for. This person said, "Who are you? Why should we trust you?" Well, you don't have to trust me. It's okay that you don't trust me. As far as who I am, I think I have been more transparent than a lot of people in social media landscape. And you should watch Danny's program that's coming out in 2 weeks. It's 3 hours, 3 hours of Lei being unchained. So I don't think I need to tell. I don't need to say anything more about who I am. People know who I am. People are just trying to put me down. Say, if you're Chinese, I think you're missing some humanity. Okay, all right. Okay, all right. So I think I reached the bottom. Did I reach the bottom? Here's a question forwarded by Chris from EJ Belge. Hi, Lei. If the CCP is destroyed, what will happen to China? Might it end like what happened to the USSR? At devastating results, creating another form of dictatorship? I think in China's case, it won't, because the sufferings the Chinese have endured, particularly in the past 10 to 15 years, is unimaginable. I think there will be a great national rejuvenation. I mean, that was the term coming from Xi Jinping, but people will awaken. People will talk about the crimes the CCP committed, in the past 70 years. I think that will completely, set China. There will be a period of awakening, self-awakening, to understand the harm the CCP has done to this nation. People have to rediscover themselves culturally and politically, and also economically, as a result. So it will take some time, and the time period will be painful. But it's a belief that, when things go to the extreme, then it will turn to the other direction. I think in the case of the former Soviet Union, things were bad, but it was not as bad as things are in China today. So it can only go to the other opposite, and very quickly. And this is a law of the universe. When extremes are reached, things will go to the other opposite. So I think China's after CCP ends, I think things will go very well for China. I mean, things can't go any worse than what it is now. This is already the worst. This is the bottom. I just saw today on the news. It's really unsettling. it said that um, a doctor was calling public attention that there's so many AIDS and HIV patients in China, particularly among the young people. And he said that it's just so bad. And he said it's everywhere. You need to pay attention. You know, he's calling the parents to pay attention. And then people are echoing his view. And I saw like comments, people saying, I knew 12 people who have like AIDS or HIV positive. I'm like, well, 12 people, that's a lot, you know. So and then they say the precedent, the incidence, the incidence rate among people between the age of 15 and 28 are much higher than people in their 30s and 40s. People in the 30s and 40s have, I think, the least HIV infections. The elderly and then the young people in China are hard hit. So it's very serious. I mean, the doctors are speaking out. So it's very sad. It's moral decline. All right. It, well, where am I in terms of the question? I think I reached the bottom. Have I reached the bottom? Oh, here's Drusilla Schultz. Thank you, Drusilla, for always being there. Okay. Old. This is a name that I dare not try to pronounce. Oli. Rodrici. You have contributed to my pool of knowledge tremendously. Well, thank you, Oli. Am I saying it right? Van Cat. Oh, thank you, Van Cat. Long time no see. Okay, all right. Oh, here's one from M from Brisbane, Australia. Well, thank you. I have some very loyal fans from Australia. I thank you. Okay, here's one from Benoit Blanchette. Am I saying it right? Thank you from Canada. I truly appreciate that. Oh, Drusilla again, thank you. All right, I want to thank everyone. Oh, here's Sean Greg Willis. Wow. Could you comment on the dynamics between Hong Kong and Beijing historically and in this moment? That's a good question, but I think we should do a program on that, just Hong Kong and Beijing. So much has changed. I mean, Hong Kong used to be uh, it used to be called the Pearl of the Orient, but now it has lost its luster. The economic center of the Far East has moved to Singapore, and Hong Kong is no longer the financial center of the Far East. But we'll make a program on that in the future. All right, I think that's all. I need to still recover from my trip and unpack. Bill Phillips, thank you for the super sticker. And Frank Bishop, Lei, your show is great and amazing. Thank you. Seek the Truth said, do you have any update on the push for recalling members of Taiwan's legislature? Are they making any progress to resolve this important issue? I have not, I need to find out, but the Korean, we should pay attention to the Korean election. Is that coming today? It's coming, right? I'm curious what the result is. I've seen social media videos about some voting box irregularities. Hopefully that doesn't happen. Okay, all right. Oh, Bill Phillips. Soleil, are you saying she's gone the way of his generals? No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying he has not been seen in 11 days. I mean, anyone can issue statements, letters on his behalf. So people are saying that this is not normal because he is always seen. You know, you see him, see his pictures, sharing meetings. I mean, the fact that we have not seen him physically or visually since May the 20th. It's too long. It's not normal. So we want to know why. Where is he? And that's a question. But I don't have the answer as to where he is. But all I know is this is not normal. The fact that he's not seen in public. All right. Okay. All right. That's all. That's all for tonight. I thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you next week. Bye.